All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I guess I proved one more time today that I'm not a hardware guy, because as I said in this email I sent out this morning, I had a student come sit in, came around 8:30 or so, and he sat in there till about 11 this morning. And those of you who watched the video live could hear me talking to him during the break. Well, so he could see what I was doing, and I didn't want him to have to kind of go over and kind of lunge or hunch over my computer. I got an overhead projector that I hooked up, and somehow, even though the overhead worked, Teams video did not record, so that's why I'm re-recording right now. Okay, the code that I'm going to put in is all right here. Okay, it's all right there. Alrighty, but I'm going to reproduce it yet one more time. And how am I going to do this? Well, to start with, the first thing I want to talk about, just for a couple minutes, if you remember from yesterday, we had this can I vote thing. And it's in here someplace. I know it is. There it is. So we had this thing yesterday, this can I vote. All right, let's just bring that up right now. And we went over several iterations of it. And I said that had I been a little smarter, I would have done an iteration with the data validation methods that were shown in your textbook from Chapter 6. But I didn't think of doing that. So after class yesterday, I did do that. So what I want to show you in here, if we take a quick look, and let's close everything. I don't know what's open and what's not open in here now, but all right. And I'm going to take can I vote with data validation. It looks like that was the project that was live. Yes, it is. All right. So the way I change this, if you take a look at it in here, and let's look at the code. I've added the is present, and by now, hopefully, this particular routine makes sense to you. This checks for the presence or the absence of something. What's the something? The something is value. All right? And this is the name of that something. So for instance, if I was checking to see if a text box called txt operand 1, okay, if I was checking to see if that was empty or not, then value would be txt operand 1.text and name would be operand 1. That kind of an idea. So you check, and if the value, if what we passed in that particular whatever it is, in our case it's a text box, if it is empty, then we say name, and again that is this, so it would say operand 1 is a required field. Okay? And it's calling this reset. I know I just wrote this. It's only got 2 lines in it. And it's right there. It clears out the age field and it sets the focus. I didn't have to do that at all. But if you notice, I call it here. I call it here. I call it here. So I thought, what the heck? So that was the is present. There's an int32, and there's another one like it, which is an int decimal. But again, what that's doing is it's seeing in this case, if we can take and parse whatever value we have, again, it's going to be the value in a text box, if we can take it and turn it into an integer or not turn it into an integer. Remember, this is the Can I Vote program. All right? If you cannot convert it into an integer, it'll say basically age must be an integer value. Finally, we added a range in here. Okay, and with that range, let me hit enter here so you can see everything. All right, min was 1, so you have to be a minimum of 1 year old. Maximum, or max, was 125. And those were just arbitrary values I picked. So again, we're going to come in here and we're going to attempt to take that number and parse it. All right, parse it into a decimal. If the number that we're trying to parse is less than 1 or it's greater than 125, then we come back with this message that says age must be between 1 and 125. We could have even added here 1 in 125 years, for example. Okay, didn't have to, but I did. And I want to put a space in there, otherwise they're going to run together. There we go. I've already mentioned this reset, so there's nothing new there. Okay, so let's run this a couple times and try it. It should work exactly like the ones we tried yesterday. So again, if I come in here and I leave it blank, I get inputted age is a required field. Inputted age must be a valid integer value. Okay. If I put something non-numeric in it, I get inputted age must be a valid integer value. If I put something out of range in it, I get inputted age must be between 1 and 125, and I just added the word years. All right. And let's check our fringe cases. So a 17-year-old cannot vote, but an 18-year-old can vote. All right. A 125-year-old can vote. A 126-year-old is out of range. Okay, so everything that's in here does, again, appear to be working. Okay, so then what I did after this, and I'm going to bring it up, I'm just going to create a new folder. Okay, let me put that back in there. Oops. Close this, put that back in there. Okay, and I'm just going to create a new folder here that I'm going to call EE for extra exercises, because that's what it was. So EE. And I'm going to put in here 6.1, 6.2, 7.1, and 7.2. I'm going to get as much of this done as I can tonight. Whatever I don't finish, I'll finish tomorrow morning, and you will have this out there by tomorrow at noon, hopefully at the latest. All right, so first thing I want to do is I want to start up Visual Studio, do a new project, Windows Forms app, and we'll call this EE6-1, Extra Exercise 6.1. Let's call the solution name EE, and the folder in which the solution will be is also going to be called EE. So EE6.1, EE. Okay. Now, this is what we have. What I decided to do was to take this and make it look almost basically square, so it looked like the one in the book. So I'm going to make this 545 by 545, and you see now it looks pretty square. All right? Okay. I'm going to come in and I'm going to set the background color. Let's make it this. That's fine. As always, we'll put in our 3 buttons. Looks pretty good. We need 4 labels and 4 text boxes. I guess I'm down here, so let's do the text boxes first. And we will have to reposition these, I'm sure, once we start putting in the labels. Okay, so now we need our 4 labels. And as always, I like to make my labels 1 shade darker than the background so they stick out a little more. Let's turn off auto sizing. And that looks pretty good. Let's change the size of the font in each one of these. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Move these up. Oops. Sorry, I forgot I had everything highlighted. There we go. This could go up a little bit, and so could this. That's not too bad. Okay. All right, so let's we'll center these. And we'll center these. All right, so let's put in the rest of the stuff we have to put in here. So this is operand 1, so it will be named LBL operand 1. All right, it will have the text operand 1. And this one will also be called, it will be TXT, but operand 1. All right, this will be operator 1, but the text is just going to say operator. Operator is a keyword in C#. So LBL operator. We can call it LBL operator 1, it doesn't matter. And the text can be just operator. Oops, always seem to do that. All right, this will be TXT operator. This will be LBL operand 2. And it'll have the text operand 2. And this will be TXT operand 2. Finally, this will be result. So it'll be LBL result, and it'll be the word result. And this will be TXT result. Whoops, spelled that wrong. Okay, and for our buttons, pretty much what we've been doing all semester. So this will be BTN calculate. This will be BTN clear. This will be BTN exit. And then we can put our text on our buttons. So this first one will be ampersand calculate. The second will be C ampersand LEAR for clear, and the last will be E ampersand XIT for exit. All right, our interface is basically finished. Now let's make sure we've got it locked into place. So we'll lock the controls. There we go. Yep, it's locked. All right. So what else do we want to do? Well, we want to come over here. Let's set our start location to center screen. And let's work our way up and do the cancel button. We'll set to BTN clear. And finally, our accept button, we will set to BTN calculate. All right, so those are done. Finally, let's go in here and set up our tab order. This result is going to be a read-only field. Okay, so their tab order will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more time. To view the tab order, it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so that is the tab order. Now, let's bring up the calculate. There's that. Let's bring up the clear. There's that. And let's bring up the exit. There's that. All right, for the exit, let's go, and I think I still have this up here. I hope I do at least. And I do. So there's our exit program or not and our show error message. All right, so those are done. Don't know why I keep doing this. So let's come in here, and this should be exit program or not. All right, and then let's just copy that in. I'm copying in too much. There we go. There. And we've got our show error message as well. All right. Let's do our clear. I always call it clear form. And we will txt operand1.text equals nothing. Operand2.text equals nothing. Operator.text is equal to nothing. Result.text is equal to nothing. And finally, txt operand1.focus. And as always, it's a good idea to save right here. All right, so file, save all, and let's run it. Okay, should be centered. Okay, put whatever we want in these. Clear, clears it, and send my cursor back there. And exit works. Good. All right, so one of the things that was in here, and I'm going to try to see if I can find this from earlier today. Again, this is 6.1. What I want to do is I want to put in the comments that we had in here. And the reason for that is then I can figure out what it is I'm supposed to be doing in these. Okay, so there's the comment. Come back into here and let's go up to the top of the screen. Let's get rid of all these unneeded using statements. Paste that in. Okay, so far we have come in and again, just following the steps that are shown here. We started a new project. No, I didn't name it Simple Calculator. We had the labels, the text boxes, and the buttons. All right, click. When you press the enter key, the click event should fire, and that's the accept button. Here, they had said exit, but I changed it to clear because that's what we've been doing all semester, and that is for the cancel button. All right, code a private method named calculate that performs the requested operation and returns a decimal value. All right, so what's going to have to happen in here is, whoops, sorry, down here, calculate is going to have to call a routine called calculate. All right, put that btn in, I didn't. Okay, and then we'll need a private void calculate. Okay, now we're not done, far from it. All right, but for this calculate that's in here, okay, well, there's a few things that we'll want to do. We're going to have to write quite a bit of code in here, to be honest with you. Okay, so instead of calling calculate directly like this, we're going to come in here and do this. I'm going to put in here a try, and I'm going to say if is valid data. Okay, we haven't written that yet, and that's why we're getting that error. So if it is valid, what do we want to do? Well, we want to say operand1 is equal to convert dot to decimal txt operator1 dot text. course, that T has to be capitalized, and that's why it's complaining here. Okay. And there we go. Let me make this a little smaller. See what's going on here. Make this a little smaller. There we go. All right. So that'll be the first operand. In other words, that's what's in the first text box. But there's 3 text boxes. All right. In the second one, operand 2, that'll be right here. And finally, we're going to have a string called operator 1. Notice if I type in string operator, it turns blue because operator is a key word. But if I say operator 1, it'll work just fine. And that'll be txt operator.text. Get rid of that right here. Okay? So we're going to write a routine in just a minute called valid data. If that valid data returns true, all right, then we're going to set up our operand 1, our operator 1, and our operand 2. And then when we call calculate, we are going to have to pass those 3 things in. Okay? So when we call calculate, we're going to have to pass into this operand 1, operand 2, and we'll fix that in just a second, and operator. In fact, I should do it in the other order. So why doesn't it like this? Oh, it's because we created those inside of here. Let's do this. Let's bring these up here in front of the try, but we're not going to give them values. We'll give operand 1 a value of 0m. We'll give our operand 1 is 0m. Operator, since it's a string, will be given the empty string. And operand 2 will again be equal to 0m. Okay, now they've all been initialized. Now I can do this and this and this, and you'll notice all my errors are going away. All right, now I can say here operand 1, operator, and operator 1 and operand 2. Okay? Now we're getting an error because when we call it here, it's not showing this. So let's bring these in. And I'm going to put these over 3 lines. All right, we're getting the error now because it needs to know the type of each one. So this is a decimal. This is a string. And this is also a decimal. So you'll notice now all of my errors are gone. Get out of there, get out of there. Oh, I'm not returning, right now I'm not returning anything from is valid data. That's why I'm getting the error. So we haven't written that routine yet. But what this is saying is when I click the calculate button, create these 3 variables. This is the first text box. This is the second text box. And this is the third text box. Okay? So we've got all those text boxes set up. We're initializing them all to either 0 if they're numbers or the empty string if they're strings. Then we're going to check to see if the data is valid. If it is, now we know we can convert these. So this is basically copy the values from the text boxes into these three variables. Okay? And then we call calculate to actually do the calculation. That's down here. And right now, it's not doing anything. Okay? So let's go in and let's write the is valid data right now. Okay? So that'll be a private bool is valid data. Okay, notice if I were to just come in here and say return false, for example, if I just put that in, now my errors are gone. Okay, it's all gone then. Okay, it's giving me one more error here because it's expecting there to be a catch. All right, and in that exception, we'll do our show error message. And we'll do an ex.message. So that'll be the actual message itself. We'll follow that with a couple blank lines. All right. And then we will have our type that of what the error is. Followed again by a couple of blank lines. And then finally, our stack trace. And we'll just, for our title, we'll just say exception was found. Okay? All right, so now all of my errors are gone. So let's come in here and actually write this is valid data. And then we can write our calculate, and then we'll be done with this particular problem. So I'm taking this right out of the book. The only thing I'm going to change in here are the names, of course. So bool success equal true string error message is equal to the empty string. All right. Oops. So first, I want to validate the operand. How about this? We'll say validate txt operand 1. Then we're going to validate txt operator 1. And finally, we're going to validate txt operand 2. Okay, so let's go do those right now. So error message, which I better spell right if I want it to work, plus equal, and now we're going to do the is present to see if this exists. txt operand 1.text, and it's called operand 1. All right, I'm going to copy this twice. Okay, it's giving me errors here because we haven't put that code in yet for the is present. We'll need an is present. We'll need an is decimal. And we will need an is within range. Now to use that is within range, we're going to need to use two constants. So declare and initialize program constants. So we'll have const decimal min number equals 0, or 0m, it doesn't matter. Const decimal max number, we're told in the requirements to make that 1,000,000. And we'll put an M on the end of that as well. Okay, the reason I had to do that was when we come down here to do this within range, it needs two more parameters, a minimum and a maximum. So our minimum will be min number, and our maximum will be max number. Okay, so those are done. So we need these is present, is decimal, and is within range. Okay, so let's put those down here. And again, I'm grabbing them from here, but they're right out of the book. So there's is present, Paste that in. Next we need is decimal, which is right here. Paste that in. And finally we need is within range. Nope, there it is within range. We will also need an is operator, so we can check that second text box to make sure that it's a plus or a minus or a multiply or a divide. Okay, so let's grab that one. That's right here, is operator. And that should be everything I have to key in from the other program. All right. So we've got all those. So we've come up here and this is all we've done here is we validated this one. Let me copy these. And we'll also validate the second one. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So those are done. Now we have to validate our TXT operator 1. So we have to make sure it's there, so is present. And I guess we call it TXT operator, not operator 1. So that's fine. So TXT operator.text operator. And again, I'm going to copy this, bring it down. And this is not is present, this is operator. All right, so operator. All right, so we've got all that stuff in there now. That's all the validations that we have to do. Now, if the error message is not empty, set success to false and show the error message. That just says if our error message that we set up before dot text, that's not a dot text, I'm sorry, if that's just equal to nothing. All right, no, we want to say if it's not equal to nothing. That means we had an error. So, an error was discovered. So, set success to false and show the error message. So, success equal false. Show error message. Okay, what doesn't it like here? Thought I copied that in, show error message, didn't I? Show error message right there. That's a little weird. Oh, there it is. It worked that time. I don't know why, but it did. Finally, we want to return success. Now, I should have no errors in here. This should go away like that there. But we haven't done our calculate yet. We have to still write this. All right, so let's do that now. So what we're going to do then in our calculate, let's set up a decimal value for result. Set that equal to 0M. Then we're going to switch. We're going to switch on our operator. Okay. If it's a plus, Well, we need to do an add. So result equals operand 1 plus operand 2. And then break. Pretty obvious. So there's the, let's just take this now. Let's bring this in here. All right, so we've got plus. Here will be minus. Here will be multiply.